Hi, I'm Helen from Heritage Garden Seeds, and today I'm going to show you how to sow your winter squash seeds. So it's really easy to sow your winter squash and we can start them off in the spring. So I'm going to sow mine into these 9cm pots. The reason I'm doing this is because the squash will grow really quickly once they germinate. So by sowing them into these pots, it will just give those roots space to grow. But you could also use large modules if you prefer. So I'm going to sow one seed per pot, and I'm going to sow my seeds on their side so that the water can just fall off and not sit on that seed. And we're going to sow them about 2 centimetres deep. And then just backfill those with the soil. And give them a light water. So again, your soil should be moist but not soaking wet, because your squash seeds can rot if the soil is too wet. And then I'm just going to pop my pots into the greenhouse where they can germinate. Once the seeds have germinated, I'm going to keep growing them on for a little bit so that they can develop a nice healthy root system in those pots. And then once the risk of frost is past, I'm going to transplant them into their final growing positions at the allotment. And when I plant them out, I'll make sure the growing area is weed free, and they'll be spaced about 90 centimetres apart, which gives them plenty of room to grow. Do make sure you keep your plants well watered during the growing season. Squash are really thirsty plants. And then once you notice those fruits starting to develop on your plants, it's a good idea to try and lift them off the soil. So use a piece of wood or something similar, just so that those fruits are not sat on wet soil, which could cause them to rot. Your squash should be ready to harvest from late summer and into the autumn, but do make sure you harvest them before the first frost. They're not going to appreciate frost at all. And when you do remove the fruit from the plant, do try and make sure you leave a little bit of the stem attached to the fruit. That will just help them to store that little bit longer. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. The best place is always on Instagram. We are at Heritage Garden Seeds, or you can get me on email. The email address is hello@heritagegardenseeds.com.